Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scouser's morning coffee or tea with American Scouser on a Wednesday morning. That's right. Number one greatest dad back in action over here and flying solo today. Actually, Audrey's finally wrapping up family stuff. Go to the cowboy is riding around his horse somewhere. Actually, yeah, I think he's riding his horse to the office today. But we do have a lot coming on. Gary is going to be constantly joining us on Wednesday. I actually have hopefully we'll have some news about the EPL channel coming up over here as well, because we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes, along with a lot of stuff behind the scenes on American Scouser with our social media and stuff like that. But let's talk Liverpool over here. I did put it in the title about the transfer rumors and stuff because I was kind of looking forward to January in a sense, only because I felt like we needed reinforcements, especially way back when I was looking forward for January. The gay thing looked a lot more likely, and I was really keen on that because I felt like, it's a huge missing piece that will change a lot, not just that position, but in terms of how we play, how teams play us, and all that kind of stuff. But now that we are in January and only freaking 7 days in, I can't already wait for freaking February to roll around, or this transfer window, whenever the hell the window was closing, to close down already, because some of the rumors out there are just freaking obnoxious. I even saw all those articles about Messi coming over, and if somebody can sit down and make that make sense, let's roll with that. It's like we don't have enough of a circus going already with all the pieces we have, but there are definitely needs. So I think, like this morning, I want to focus more on some of the, like, what do we actually need? I think a lot of us do want um yeah. Matish might be right. February rolls around, the rumors will just get worse. Summer. Alan, good morning, sir. We do have definite needs, right? When we look at it, but looking at it from the perspective of, it really depends on if you're like slot out or slot in and stuff. I literally was just in the chat where, like, the slot out crew, and you can be slot out, that's fine and dandy. But there's so much stuff to be slot out for, I guess, right? You can be not happy with the stuff you see on the pitch. You can, like some of the moves you might not agree with, or you might be one of those guys for some reason who's a huge fan of constantly playing Chiesa, even though, Chiesa is Chiesa. But there's like some stuff just being made up behind the scenes and everybody eating it up because it does kind of like suit their agenda or what they want done, is just like so like sickening. It just makes zero sense to me. I saw one this morning and people were like, "Oh, this is the one they're writing on this morning." And this is from IndyCali News account, by the way, so you can take that for what it is. Insiders are telling us that Anislot is playing with fire. If Hugo Ikitika starts tomorrow, he's not fit, but Slot is fighting for his job. He should not be included in the squads. So it's almost like starting another rumor that Slot would start Ikitika injured. If he did that, why wouldn't he do it last weekend? Like, some of these things don't even freaking like make sense. And I just don't understand why people need more ammo. And of course, there's always accounts and stuff that's going to feed off of this, and to get more like clicks and views and stuff like that, just make up more shit in like Twitter to get retweeted and stuff like that. Whereas whether it's true or not, because we all know, everybody assumes that when things go well, everything is hunky-dory behind the scenes. When things go bad, everything's a disaster behind the scenes. Whereas it's a little bit of both. Like, when things are going great on the pitch doesn't necessarily mean there's stuff going on behind the scenes to make even the pitch go the way it is. So, but let's get back to the squad. Like I said, I'm just kind of like done fighting this. And I'm not even like, I've questioned a lot of things that I don't get what Slot is doing. I think a lot of the disconnect comes from right now, especially, is we're not sure what we're watching. I guess maybe that's the part of it. Like, we don't know the direction we're trying to go. And is that because, I know, the last game you didn't even have a number 9 that you want in that system? Because it's not like, yes, you have people missing, but if we said this was going to be, we all said when we watched during AFCON um we would say see the like the post-Mo Liverpool. Like if Slot was waiting for a time, that would be the time to implement it. And I realize like both Isak being out and Ikitike being out prevents us from doing that. But I'm trying to see what everything else behind it is. And I'm kind of not understanding what we're doing, how we're trying to play and stuff like that. It is a little bit of both, Train, but a little bit of both in the sense that like I get why people are slot out, and I'm not saying I'm definitely slot in. I just don't see the benefit of slot outs because I do not want. I mean, if you have not, I know we recorded it. So it was live, but it was like midnight our time, my time over here in Central Time when we did the Rival Bros. But we were talking with Edip about like Uniteds. I mean, we're. I don't know if you guys saw that image. I think it was on Discord channel as well. That was on like Fabrizio account of all the like all these managers that's United has had, and it goes usually it's pretty much like a good guy, caretaker, good guy, caretaker, good guy, caretaker, or like when I say good guy, I'm like no name caretaker and stuff. So I mean, look at the situation they're in at United. Do you really want to be there? Where and then people are talking like Stevie G and stuff like that, and then saying Slot doesn't understand football and stuff. Do you really want to have a situation where it's like a bunch of caretakers kind of like getting you through May? I just do not see the benefit of it. Having said that, that kind of determines the reason I say the slot out, slot in perspective is important when looking at January is do you want to do something where you give more money to Slot, even though I know he's a coach, but if he's saying this is what I need, this is what I really need, do you spend the money and give the money if in the back of your head you're like, I don't know if this is going to work out over here, but let's give it another 4 or 5 months. I think that's why it's important to see or to know where the club is at. And I'm not believing any of this junk that's being thrown online in terms of like where they're at. They're fighting, blah blah blah. It's everything. Nobody was fighting early in the season somehow, but now they're all fighting because like like the results are not there and obviously the performance is not there, which I think the results are kind of like averaged out. At least we're not like we stopped the bleeding, but the performance is not there. We're not liking what we're watching. That's another topic I want to get to because I did see um a clip. I think it was from Redman TV. And so I want to get like people's perspective on that in terms of like what we want from the team. Do we want them winning or do we want them entertaining? I mean, obviously, in an ideal world, you would want both. But if a team is winning, is that entertaining enough for you? Wasn't it pretty entertaining for a little bit over there where we had a run going and after we tied the game against Fulham, those 10-15 minutes, I thought that was entertaining when we were like we were able to create chances, but we had more or less like like a little perk going and we were kind of like playing a lot better. Even though it was a draw, I thought that was like entertaining. Do we want, I mean, last year when we were winning 2-0, the slot specials, was it a whole lot more entertaining than this? Or are we kind of basing it off of the emotion you leave with? And that's like final thing we remember. I think that's what most people are doing because I remember a lot of games where it was just like the last 20-30 minutes is going to be a bore fest because we already had the 2-0 lead. We're just going to close this out. Something we're not able to do this year, at least like in 3-4 occasions, right? Up 2-0. I mean, I can think of, I mean, we won some of them at the end, like the Bournemouth game, but like the Leeds game, I mean, so many leads given up by this team after like those miraculous comebacks in the first 5 weeks of the season. So I don't know if the team's entertainment level has changed a lot compared to last year, or are we just judging by the results? I think you had one thing last year we were talking about on the Monday Night Podcast in terms of like Luis Diaz, who was a bit more of like going at people. I think a lot of people want Rio to get more time because of that. Because I think they saw that's not Chiesa, by the way. I think everybody thought Chiesa was going to be that guy, but he's not. I think that's why a lot of people are like kind of like want Rio to play because it's really the closest thing to Luis Diaz in terms of I don't know, excitement, just because he's going to go at people. He's going to play with urgency and he's going to play fast. Right now, really, the only person that you see consistently taking people on is probably like Wirtz. And I don't know, because he has the green light to do it, or I almost feel like while I'm watching, like Veers gets bored with our sideways passing sometimes. He was like, okay, well, somebody's going to do something. Let me do it, which is fine because that's his role. I mean, we did the same thing whenever he was healthy with like Thiago and stuff like that too. Solo is in the house. Good morning, Solo. Solo knows exactly the WhatsApp chats I'm talking about too, by the way, where rumors are flying everywhere. Like you have to duck, otherwise you're going to get hit by like a just like a made up rumor about something stupid. I just put it in that chat that, like it would make TMZ jealous. We should get a TMZ guy in there just to get some material because we're like, this is good shit, guys. Because it's just like made up stories that people share and then it goes around, like the Messi ordeal, for example. I hear Messi is coming. So I don't know. That's what I wanted to ask the chat this morning as people gather around on the numbers. By the way, if you're hopping on right now, please do hit that thumbs up. It only helps get other suckers in here to join the chats and get in this loop with us. But do you care about the entertainment, or do you want a win? And doesn't matter if you're bored or not. I think in the short term, and when I say short term, I'm talking like a couple of seasons. I think most people will take the wins. That's why I think we took the wins last year. We would take it again this year. I really think so. I mean, the first 5 weeks, I know they were all like late winners and stuff too. So maybe that it adds to excitement level. But the excitement is the fact that we freaking won. One way or the other, we won. And that was the excitement. So like I saw that like clip on Redman TV in terms of like why the fans are getting like, and this is like I feel like this is fans being spoiled, by the way. Why the fans having a tough time getting behind this team, because the brand of football they play is boring and slow. First of all, as a supporter, you're supposed to support the team regardless of, the system they're playing in and whatever formation they're playing in. You're not supporting the formation, you're supporting the club. So that should not be an excuse for fans to just be quiet and watch. I know it's always the chicken and egg thing. Like, should something on the pitch get the fans going, or should the fans get some people on the pitch going so that it like cycles the right way instead of cycling the bad way? But I feel like that is a little overblown in terms of like the brand of football we're playing. Having said that, I do realize we're playing frustratingly slow. And I'm in total agreement with that. I guess the question is, if we were winning, would you care that we're playing frustratingly slow? Or it looks frustratingly slow, not just slow, because the result is not there either. Like you're not creating chances, you're not scoring goals, you're not winning. So that slow pace is more of a frustrating slow pace as opposed to we just play slow kind of a thing. And of course, there's a lot of like the recency bias where this was a club team that was kind of like like the Tasmanian devil at all times. So going from that to any other system was kind of going to be like tricky. It was going to be automatically slower because nobody played it faster. And I don't even know if this squad is built for that, to be honest with you, because we talk about a lot about like fitness and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if this team is in terms of depth for one, but also like style, like the players that we have right now, their style is suitable for that in the first place. But so the window is here. I don't know if how much of a movement there is going to be now. We all assumed, I think, I don't know, 3-4 months ago that January 1st would be the day that Gay comes around because you just missed it by 30 minutes or whatever the hell it was. So we were thinking that was going to be, that was one reason I was looking forward to January, because I do think it would solve a lot of problems in terms of, I really like how he is on the ball, because a lot of times you see other teams defending and letting Konate kind of like have the ball. And they were like, you know what? You build the play. And they've done this in the past where they would cover Trent even when he was inverted. When Trent was inverted, it would be even worse because then Konate would be out even wider somehow to build play from. And Konate has gotten better. I will give him this. He has gotten better. He has like sent a few passes that are like, oh, that was like a nice pass. That was like a mad supply buildup. But overall, he's not, and that's why other teams let him do it, because it's almost like letting the worst shooter in basketball take as many shots as they want. Yeah, he's gonna make a couple, but he's gonna miss more often than he makes it. So I think that's where Gay would be really, really valuable because he is so good on the ball. I really think he would be able to like contribute in that sense, not only defensively. I think he would be a lot more solid, but I think on the ball, he's so much better. He gives you one more person to be able to play the long ball. Like basically what you get from Van Dijk, you'd be able to get from the opposite side as well, because you don't get that diagonal with Konate over there. Ryan is in the house. Mr. Confidence, we scored two. We got this. That's gone. Okay, yeah, just wins. Okay, I mean, I do agree to that. And I think that's where I'm at too. Like, I want to wins. I don't know if I care about the style as much as long as the results are there. But that's so like it's not like we're loving it, but if the results are there, it's hard to argue with the results. Is basically what it is. Like I might not like how you're going about what you do, but if you're getting the job done, whatever, dude, you do you, because we're getting the job done ultimately, is what it becomes. So I think a lot of the frustration now is the job is not getting done and we don't know what the hell you're doing. So people are getting frustrated and it's very slow. So when it doesn't provide results, it becomes, like I say, that frustrating slow becomes due to the lack of results. Ozan is in the house. Where the heck have you been? There's Tim. Tim is always here, buddy. You're not the one. You're the one who's been missing in action over here. Yeah, I am. I am worried about that. I am really worried about that. I know we were talking with Edip yesterday in the Rival Bros, and he actually predicted a draw because I think he's first of all downplaying it so then he can come back and make fun of us or whatever. But part of it is I think people expect the team to play much better, similar to what happens like against Real Madrid and stuff, where we were like, oh, that's gonna be scary. And then they go out there and they play like how we want them to play. And they kind of like dominate. So I think people are expecting that because Arsenal on paper, on form, on everything is such big favorites that there will be a reaction from Liverpool. And we can only hope. But I think that's what everybody's at, that there will be some kind of reaction. He doesn't have confidence. He more, I think, like throwing that out there so that, he can come back afterwards, make fun of us. Arsenal are very good, home and away, really. I mean, they're solid, well-built squads, defensively very solid. I mean, like scoring against them is going to be the tricky part. A lot of people are saying, because they will come out and attack and they want to low block, we'll be able to get chances. But that doesn't necessarily mean, we went out and attack last year, but we didn't give a lot of chances. They play, people complain about, like the style we play. Look at the style Arsenal plays. Arsenal fans don't give a damn because they're winning. I think this whole style deal is just based on results. It's overblown. This is what fans want and this is what fans are used to. I am not buying that personally. I think if the results were there, the fans would still eat it up, because at the end of the day, you walk out of that stadium happy, as opposed to frustrated because it didn't happen. I don't like, are we going to be really, really entertained, draw 3-3, and we're going to get frustrated? We're going to be like, why are we not stopping goals and all that kind of stuff? So we've been there. So people who are saying like, oh, I want excitement. You were not that excited when we were tying games 3-3, when we were losing games 3-2. You were not excited. If you were excited, that's fine, but you were not happy. So let's not go there. Ultimately, it's the results. It's the slow possession they play. Yeah. See, that's the thing. I think I am okay with slow possession too. It can be slow, but it has to be effective. I guess that's where I'm at with the whole, what we're seeing and why people are not happy. I'm okay with a sideways pass if it has a purpose. I just feel like some of the passing we do doesn't have a purpose. The only purpose is possession, not creating chances. Like, and that's not going to create chances because your goal is more possession than anything else. So, and we play scared. I was talking about this on Monday with Matush. The confidence is not there. So we do play very scared. I understand every team struggles against that low block, right? I mean, that's the story of the league overall. When teams go, you got to break the low block. You got to get one goal in, open the dam, and then, you win the game. You go on to the next one. That's how it was when Klopp was here. That's how it is for City every game. That's like Etihad and stuff. So that's how that works. But what I get frustrated with is there are times in the game where we win the ball and we have a chance to go before they settle back there. We have a chance to go. There's an open pass. I'm not even saying like just make something happen. I see an open pass. Just send it now. He's there. Let's attack. Somebody is out wide, and we freaking stop. Like, I don't know if you don't have confidence in it. We're worried we're going to lose the ball as we're trying to counter, and now we're going to get countered on. I just do not know the reason behind it. If that's the instruction, that's freaking horrible. I highly doubt that's the instruction when a manager says we suffer against a low block, and anytime we catch them out of that block, that we're like, okay, why don't you guys settle in? We're going to pass it back around here. Everybody situate themselves. Then we're going to attack. I just don't think those are directions. I don't know what it is. Is it lack of confidence? Is it the pace we're playing in? We can't switch from like going that slow one to suddenly, okay, let's counter. Let's go at him. I don't know, because this team used to do that very, very well, where we would kind of control the game for like 2 minutes, bore everyone to death last season, including us. Nobody complained then, right? Because we were winning. Nobody gave a damn. Nobody complained. But there was like a whole 2 minutes sequence where they were just like, okay, I guess, we're keeping possession. We're not doing much. But then there were times for like 3-5 minutes, we would just go at them. And when we won the ball, we went at them and we scored a lot of goals that way. We just slow it down now, regardless. We can catch him 3v5. Like they have like only 5 left in the back now. We just do not go at him unless you're never going to have a number advantage at Anfield because nobody is going to commit that many people going forward. Like certain number is always going to be parked in the back unless it's like a corner or something like that. You're getting out of a set piece. But that's what frustrates me in terms of like the slow possession that like Rolo is talking about there. Hugo Fitz, who knows? I did miss the press conference, or I don't know if the press conference even happened yet, to be honest with you, but I did not see the notes. I know last I saw, it was like a game time deal, but I don't know if that changed or not. If anybody in the chat knows, has seen the press conference or whatever, send it in here. But you do need Curtis in midfield. I know Maka gets a lot of like criticism these days. I don't see it as over the top, maybe because I'm a McAllister fan. He's way below where he used to be. We were talking about on the Monday night podcast in terms of how kind of they overlap, where you have two different guys trying to. The thing I liked about McAllister was he almost played like a point guard, where he would control the pace. Like when I talk about 2 minutes of bore fest, 3-4 minutes of going at him, it felt like it came from them. Like he would be the one saying like, okay, we're going on a fast break, or he would be the ones like, okay, we're recycling now, and pass it around with like Gravenberg and stuff. Whereas now he has Wirtz there. Wirtz suddenly starts to change the gear. Maybe McAllister is not ready for that yet, or doesn't want to change it at that time. I don't know. There's definitely like a disconnect there. I really thought it would be a really, really good duo just because of the style they play, how they can operate in tight spaces. You got Curtis there as well. Soboslai is running. I thought that was, I mean, we all talked about this like diamond midfield and stuff, right? I thought it would work really well, but maybe it's because of the people in front of them or the lack of people in front of them that it is not working as well as it should. There's a lot of disconnect there. But Curtis, in that sense, for example, has become that guy who calms things down. But I think what this team needs right now is more of somebody who triggers things. And I know when I'm not talking about like against the low block, I'm talking about when we win the ball, somebody who's going to say, okay, we're going at him now and get things started. I think a lot of the midfielders we have, aside from Beards, right now are kind of like taking the ball, recycling it, keeping possession. We're just playing not to lose. And that's usually a recipe for like losing, to be honest with you, or, drawing, which is what we're doing right now. So that's probably the frustrating part to watch for me. That's what I understand from like the slot out people. But I think when people make it that it's how we're playing, I think that is not fair because nobody complained last year. I don't think this, and everybody's like, that was Klopp's team. They play with more. I don't think so. I mean, you had a couple of people like Diaz is the only name that comes to mind to me. And Robo always plays like that anyway. That played with like more intensity, running. You couldn't predict like, the unpredictability of their game. We had Mane before on the left and stuff. You had wingers who they didn't know where they were going. So definitely the opposition didn't know where they were going when they got the ball. And that's what made them, like difficult to defend. We don't have that as much this year. I think that's why there is that disconnect. But um it's I really think when I read about that, like the style, I think it's more result based than anything else. I think if we were getting the results, nobody would care. Um, Plenty of channel where people complained. I know, Bob. Were they celebrating at the end of the year? They were. Were they celebrating after every win? They were. They were complaining, saying this is not sustainable. This is not sustainable for fucking 4 months. And we sustained it, didn't we? And we closed the deal like 2 months ago or whatever it was. I don't agree. I mean, yes, some people look, we're always going to people, it's the human nature. We're always going to complain. If we win 2-0, we're gonna say we should have gone more. Well, they should have at least have been for that game and stuff. How many times have we said that? How many times have channels said that? That's fine. People are always going to ask for something more. But we were more than content with winning. We were more than content with winning the title. Nobody said, I don't want the title if it's going to come from the slow game. Nobody freaking said that. And if they said it, they're a freaking liar because you want titles, you want trophies. That's what matters. Finals of like tournaments, like whether it's Champions League or League Cup and stuff, are usually the shittiest games are the finals. It always works out that way. But no one cares as long as you win. No one cares. Was the Spurs final in the Champions League a great played game? No, but nobody gave a damn because you want to win, you want the trophy. That's all that freaking matters. We won the league in the first 4 months, but we played in the same slow pace as we play now. I don't think we played a lot faster. You had one or two players, I think maybe you're missing, that played with that pace, but you did not play much faster. You did not play a lot more entertaining. I just don't think so. Ozan says, yeah, I think this is where I was going to yesterday when I was talking to Edip. There have been games where we were like really heavy favorites. Like United was in shambles. We were like rolling with like Klopp, and then we would like draw them and stuff, So I think that's what I'm hoping for. That's the best thing you can hope for, really, is where they have a false sense of confidence coming into these games, and then we kind of go out there to prove a point. The team goes out there, more importantly, to prove a point. And because right now, let's face it, they look far off from Arsenal. Far off from like City, and I don't know about like Villa as much, but because their consistency is different, but they're getting the results, I guess. So I think it's a point to prove that you're not that far off. I saw like Saboslay's comments about, title is not won yet and stuff. I hope he's not saying like we're going to go for the title, but I think it's talking about, proving a point that you are still the champions and you are not that far off. You're just kind of going through a struggle right now. I mean, that's on the players to prove over there. I talked about this, I think it was on the podcast, where I saw a post on social media where people are like, yeah, because that's how slot managers is. Like, that's not doesn't have to do. If these guys, by the way, I ask you guys this: if we go out against Arsenal tomorrow and have like a really, really good game that we've only seen one or two of those games this season. Like Real Madrid comes to mind. What was the other game? Right around that same era, we had another decent game like that. But then would you hold it more on the players, knowing they are capable of doing this? We won the league. I don't know if we began the gradual decline. I agree to the gradual decline. I think that was more about squad management. And the last 2 months was just hungover games. Like anybody who still tries to get those stats added onto this year is just delusional. It had nothing to do with it. You can only play so well. The margins are really fine. There's like a lot of good teams in this league. So if you go out there having won everything, we're like, let's see what happens. Yeah, it's just not going to end well for you. I think that was like a lot of like I say, hungover matches like being played. Which part? I don't know. I missed that part, Bob. Sorry. Which part you disagree with? I think if it's the part that's we were playing pretty boring football early in the season, I mean, go watch highlights of that season. You like just like there's like a bunch of videos where they show game by game kind of a thing. I mean, you'll see some games, it's just like 1-0 all the way. We score another one on the 70, and then 2-0 slot special, done. There's another game, 2-0 in the first half, slot special, we're done. We just set up camp and then we're good. Like we keep possession, we frustrate the other team, and we're good. We just can't do that right now because I think more importantly, we're not up 2-0 right now very often. We're not able to get, and partially because maybe we do not scare the other team as much. So when we are up, they come at us and we're not able to punish them for coming out to attack. I think that's what's happening a lot right now. And that, like say, you can criticize Slot for that, and I'm all for that. I do agree to that. But the other parts are, I feel like, just inconsistent, and it's all evaluating and, commenting on it after the fact, which I don't think is fair, especially when you compare it. You're just basically evaluating based on the results. That's the part I don't think that's overall fair. But you can criticize all the other things that I mentioned and say, hey, we need answers to this. And that's what I want. Like, I want answers to that, because the answer to that is not, because Mo's at AFCON, or, Isak broke his leg. I don't think that's it. So, and I don't agree to this either. Like, I think that's when we were talking about this Monday night, I think. I think when we see a team not performing, we are looking for things, right? So you see, I mean, they were tired. They looked like we were losing our legs in the first half, right? This team looks so tired and stuff. There's that 10-15 minute periods in, I don't know, like 55th to 70th, maybe 50 to 65. I don't know. I would have to go back, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. In that Fulham game, there's a 15-minute period where we're like, that's it. Where is this team at? This is what we want. Where are you guys at? They didn't look tired then, did they? I don't think that's like, the not having legs and stuff like that, training regime and all that kind of stuff. We're like, people are trying to find things, is where I'm at. Those 15 minutes, they did not look tired at all. They looked like we just started the game. Everybody was fresh and healthy as hell. It's a lot about, I think we're looking at what we're seeing, and if we're not happy with it, we're like, what is happening here? See, he's not running as fast because they're tired. That's why. Slot is not training him. That's why. It suddenly became Slot is not training him. So Slot forgot how to train people within 12 months. And if anything, my fear is if we are not as fit as last year, I don't think we're not performing because we're not fit, by the way, like in terms of having minutes and stuff like that. But if anything, I would worry that, like Bob was saying, there was a slight decline in like January, February and stuff, in terms of like how we played, the pace and all that. My worry was this year we were like, why don't we do it where the fitness peaks more January, February, as opposed to earlier on in the season, and then it comes down. But I honestly, that again is kind of like looking into it and making up stuff as opposed to what we're seeing. If this team is running like crazy in February, I guess we were like, yeah, you just don't want to slow that much before you speed up. But like I say, we'll find out when it's all that. Yes, this is perfect. I agree perfectly with this. It's confidence, mental fitness. Yeah, perfectly settles on that. Thank you. You should grab a chair on a Wednesday morning. Yes, I mean, that's probably more of it. And I think when we're evaluating our, like, our eyes are saying, they look tired. I don't think it's being tired, because like I say, when you watch those 15 minutes, like, where is that team? Like, where is that team? The team you watched there for 10, 15 minutes, where are they? It's just very, very frustrating to see, because they're like, it's in there right behind. I see it, just gonna like pull it out of there and like put it on the pitch. But it has to be mentally like affected, because I just don't think it's like they're not practicing or something. I mean, how is Soboslai still running then? If that's the case, why is he not? If it's like, how they're training, is Soboslai training by himself afterwards, or he's like, you guys do that, I'm gonna go do the lactate test over here. No, I mean, there are certain players who are just as fit as they were last year, so I don't think that's the issue at all. We're just trying to find, the results are not there, the performance are not there, so we're trying to see if we can find a reason for it, because God knows, like, people do not, for most players, unless it's two or three players, we do not want to blame the player, right? It's not the player, it's how he's trained, for example. But specific players, doesn't matter how they're trained, it's their fault. Like, if it's Konate, it's Konate's fault. If it's, I don't know, like, throw another name over there that we always like nitpick on. I think we pick specific names, we blame the name. If it's somebody else that we're a fan of, or we don't want to, oh, Gakpo is another one. It's Gakpo's fault. It's Konate's fault. But nobody is like, Gakpo is not being trained well. That's why he's not like getting past this guy and stuff. I just don't. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I mean, Soboslai has not dropped off at all. It's the same Soboslai. The bad thing is, funny that you mentioned, we're talking about Soboslai, by the way. As I watched that game against Fulham, I see Soboslai running around. It reminded me of the Soboslai I was watching in Hungary, where he's like really frustrated with what's happening, and he's just like running uncontrollably a little bit. It reminded me of that, where he's trying to get the team going as well. And I think that's like the issue is, if you want to find issues, it's not, we're not playing as a team, and you're not pressing as a team as well. There's a lot of disconnects. Like, the trigger for the press is not very determined. When we're playing, that point guard I'm talking about is not as determined, or people want to be that guy and they're not. I don't, it's frustrating to watch. I understand that. And it is, a lot of it is probably on Slot. But that's what I mean. These are things that you can criticize Slot on, instead of just making up shit and criticize them on that. I mean, these are the issues that he has to solve. And I don't know, going back to how we got into this conversation in the first place, what do you guys think that will fix that in January? Because the fix to me from everybody is getting Slot out. Is that the fix? Is that your transfer? Is getting Slot out? Or do you say, if he has this kind of player, that will clean this team up? Like, if we didn't lose Semenyo to City, would that shore things up? That's what's I want to hear from people, is because a lot of the Slot out people also want transfers in, and they're saying like, we sorely need somebody here, we sorely need somebody there, but you're blaming the manager. So which one is it? So, because I would think the people who are like at the top, screaming Slot out, think the squad is good and enough. I don't think it is, not for how we're trying to play, at least. And that's the issue. Like, that's what I think FSG, Edwards, all those people up top have to decide. If you're going to keep Slot, and that's your, regardless of results or what happens, then you are going to have to get more pieces that, he feels he needs. If you're not, then yeah, you don't want to pull, I don't know, what United did over and over with managers. They're like, what do you need, man? We'll go spend a couple of 100 million. Well, you're fired. And then the new guy comes in and is like, who the hell bought these guys at ridiculous wages at that? So that's, you don't want to get into that situation, because we know how that ends up. That's why I always say, be careful what you wish for. There has to be a plan. And I do not want a caretaker manager. That shit never works. This whole new manager bounce crap only works for teams that are trying to fight relegation, because a win is all they need in most cases. One win, two draws, that new manager bounce is all they freaking needed anyway. You do not challenge for stuff up top with a new manager bounce. That's not how that stuff works. I cannot recall any new manager bounce that made somebody, like win a title and stuff. So I think, but see, that's the tournaments. I think tournaments are different. But tournaments are different because you're going one game. I'm talking about like a league new game bounce. I do manager bounce. I don't think that's sustainable. Teams who are about to get relegated say, "This is our last shot. Throw the shit on the wall. If it sticks, it sticks. If not, we're falling into the shit anyway." So I understand that, but I do not want an interim manager because who is the interim manager? Because everybody says Stevie G. You have to be kidding me. Stevie G could not manage the egos at Villa. He is not managing it. I do not want Stevie G as a manager. I want to remember Stevie G as the player he was, not come over here, struggle, and get cans, all that kind of stuff. I just do not need that at all. I understand that, but it's a game at a time. We have had some really shitty teams that won trophies, Bob, because like I think a tournament team is different than a league winning team. If that's what I'm trying to get at. Then you can win because you can just focus on those games, and they sucked in the league, by the way. So you could focus on there. But you can't in the league have an interim manager because interim manager should at least be somebody. There has been some teams that and that team was not a shit team, by the way. So let's not kid ourselves. They were shit in the league, but they were shit in the league. They were definitely shit in the league. But they did win the Champions League. So look, like I say, is manager can change a few things, but I do not think a new manager bounce gets you in a title race or anything like that. So, well, we'll pull up that squad now, Bob. I'm not gonna. This is not a Chelsea channel, so I don't know the squad by name. But that was not a bad team that he made into this like Champions League title. Google it up. I don't want to have people watch me Google it, but Google it to give us the Ozan. Is it here somewhere in the chats? Give us the starting 11 for that game over there. But that's my thing. An interim manager is not going to solve any issues, especially your interim manager, Stevie G. I don't know who else everybody's expecting. If you had a different guy that you want to go with long run, I'm okay with that. Like, if Xabi was fired, or you're gonna get Nagelsmann and you're gonna work out something with Germany where you're still gonna do the World Cup, whatever, I will be okay with that. I just don't. I rather ride out the storm and like go to the end, good or bad, with slots, and like part ways at the end of the year and get somebody you need right away. Then, because I just do not want that at all. But they still struggle in the league. That's the whole point. I don't understand your point, Bob. I really don't. I honestly still think this team is going to go far in the Champions League, by the way. I know everybody laughs at me for that, but I really do think this team will go far in the Champions League. And that's why I put that slightly on players, because they will know that that's the only thing to hang their hat on this season, and they will kind of keep going at that. I really do think that. Well, we don't struggle in the Champions League as much. I don't understand. So you want an interim manager, Bob? Who do you want? You tell me who you want as interim manager. Who's going to come in here right now as interim manager and say it's going to do really well? We can recreate. Like, that's the thing. One game, right? Not the 3-0 to 4-3 thing. But I think you can. You look at that AC Milan team, man. It is freaking ridiculous when you look at that AC Milan team. Like, whenever you watch highlights from that, like they like all like get before the game and take the team photo and stuff. It's like ridiculous squad that AC Milan team was, and the team that beat him is nowhere near it. But you can't do that in a final. You can't do that in a tournament. It's just a matter of, in one game, sometimes it's a mismatch, sometimes it's just momentum. That's crazy too. I honestly think, if Milan maybe goes into the half 2-0 and they don't come out with the mindset as we're done, maybe that game doesn't turn or whatever. That's like one of the lifetime kind of like ordeals, I think. But um that can happen, I think, in a tournament. You can have a ride, you can have a momentum, because that's becomes your only focus. But usually those teams suck in the league. So that's what happens, Justice. Yeah, those names, I didn't even put them on the screen because that was, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I honestly think, like I say, if that first half ends 2-0, I think they don't come out the second half like job done. And when you switch off and look at that like ridiculous save by Dudek and stuff, that's just destiny, man. That was just like meant to be, and it happened. See, this is what I don't like, Bob. This is what I don't like. Anybody but slot thing, I think, is an extremely poor take. That I do not understand. That's not how you run a club. Thank God you're not running the club, Bob. That's all I can say. Because that's not how you run a club. Anybody but him. No, you have to have a freaking plan, and or you become United. This is what happens. Fletcher, I honestly, we were talking about this on Rival Bros with my brother, but when I saw the photo on the phone with Ole, my eyesight sucks, so like I can, like kind of pull shit back. When I saw the photo of Ole holding the thing and stuff, I thought it was like a spoof account making a post about, Ole is coming back to United and stuff. Then I was like, holy shit, it's Fabrizio. Like, he's like open to coming back, talks in the way and stuff. I'm like, wait, what? They're bringing like Evans back. They're bringing Fletcher back. It's like, who used to play here and was decent when we were winning? There's not a lot of those guys left either, by the way. But see, no, it's like a vicious cycle, though. You gotta stick. They do not let the managers clean up the recruiting. That's the problem. It's not, you gotta give time to the manager to clean up the mess. I'm not saying that applies for Slot. I'm saying for like United's. In that sense, what I'm saying for us is not switching to like an interim manager and putting us in a situation where now we're just floating for 4 months anyway. I don't know if the upper management has given up on him as much. So that's what you want to be? Bob, you're making my head hurt this morning. I don't understand. Like, what do you want? You want managers constantly sacked? Is that what you want? Because that's not how what this club is. This club has never been that club. So I don't know. Like, I think, Bob, you're around my age, right? So we've been around for a while. You're not like you sound like a 16-year-old kid when you say that, because that's not how this club is. This club has never operated that way, and that's what I kind of like about this club, to be honest with you, because we kind of like follow a plan, sometimes maybe blindly, but still we follow a plan and we give people time instead of just constantly pulling the triggers. Chelsea just sacked their manager again. Chelsea's spending billions over and over and over again and sacking managers because they cannot let managers who. How many managers has Liverpool had in their entire history? Because you compare that to Chelsea and United, and I know, Bob, that's gonna be a fraction. So we give people time. I didn't say we don't sack people. People had to be sacked, otherwise there was somebody over here, 102 years old, still managing the team. People eventually get sacked. But how many managers have we had? How many managers have they had? I'm sure you know the numbers. If you don't, Ozan can pull it up for you or ask Google. But that's what I mean. We do not operate like that. We do not fire every 6 months, every 12 months. This club has never operated like that. And this management, this upper managements, like the powers that be, Edwards, Hughes and stuff, will definitely not operate like that, because that's not how a smart business operates. And these guys are like smarter businessmen. That's not a smart business operates, where you constantly sack people, who are, trying to do things because the immediate results are not there. It's just silly. Never sacked the manager this season. Really? See, I don't know about that. I did not that. Because he was winning. I mean, yeah, you're just doing a lot of like Monday morning and over here. No, I'm not buying that either, man. I'm really. You are Ozan, dude. Every show needs somebody in the chat who can just constantly pull up stats, because we can't afford a producer over here. So I need the producer in the chat who can constantly throw out stats, and I'm putting you in charge, Ozan. When I'm on, when you're in the chat, you're our automatic producer in the chat over there. Um, that I'm not buying that either. Like that. I saw that. I put that in the same category as the whole Messi thing. I will be all for it. I will be all for it. But see, that would be a plan. That would be like, okay, but that's at the end of the season anyway, right? He just did not renew his contract. So it's not like, um, you know, it's not like he's leaving. He's just not going to renew his contract. So he'll be available in the summer. The summer is going to be interesting because there's a World Cup. So after the World Cup, there'll be a lot of firings and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people waiting for those jobs afterwards. So there'll be a lot of like turnover in that sense, I think. But will I be doing a tour in the USA? Probably not. We will definitely need to we are going to be so there will be two times to have an American Scouser petting zoo over here. One is going to be when Jasmine is getting married. A lot of like I've invited well, she's invited a lot of the folks from like American Scouts are actually over there as well. A lot of like admins are contributors and stuff like that. And I know the next day, like so we would probably be at the Milwaukee pub. What is it? Three Lions, I think it's called. We'll probably be there with the gang to watch Liverpool game the way afterwards and stuff. And obviously we're gonna do the Carragers hopefully again at New York. Um, if they will host us again. If Tony has not learned his lesson yet, we'll be doing that again last year because we did, like I say, 2024 was $5,000. We beat that last year. So the goal is to go even higher like this year. So we increase that every year. And I think as our number of followers increase, we're doing a huge push on social media as well. I'm hoping those fundraisers. I do have a small fundraiser effort that we're going to support coming up, by the way. So I will hopefully have a meeting with those people in the next few days, get more details and tell you guys about them. I got an email actually yesterday regarding it, but I don't want to give the full details because I don't have the full details yet myself. But once I know, I'll pass that on because that's an effort. I mean, and if you guys, your local supporter clubs and stuff like that are doing something, please do pass it on because I would like to have our channel always support those causes. We may not be able to donate, we may not be able to do our own fundraising for it, but we can definitely help spread the word here in our social media. I mean, we have a ton of followers throughout the US. We are in a lot of like different groups and stuff like that, so we will definitely be going over there. If certain items are up for the summer from the summer fundraiser, I will not be beaten. Yes, there were some really, really cool items last year donated by the foundation. I mean, Edmonton, for example, donated that Ellison signed glove and stuff. There were a ton of cool items, autographed books from the writers themselves. So we'll try to do the same thing again this year because we have done well, and I think we've gone about it the right way. We're kind of like growing it more and more. So I'm hoping to grow the dollar amount more and more in terms of what we do. I mean, that's kind of like the joy of kind of doing this. So I do want to do more of it as much as possible. So if you have like, local groups that have a cause they're supporting, doesn't matter if it's just a member in their community, there's a GoFundMe or something like that. I mean, we'll love that stuff forward. That I know we don't want to beat people down to a pulp asking for like something every other day, but it never hurts to spread the word because there's always somebody who can afford to contribute. And if it takes, if it gets one more person to be able to contribute, why the hell not? It never hurts to kind of like ask and throw it out there. But I will definitely have you know, what you want to call it, more information about this. I'll give you guys the name, but like I say, I don't have the full info yet. I'm gonna be talking for the gentleman shortly. It's for Steph's sake. It's a fundraiser started to send, and we can nominate people actually to be sent to a game to make their like kind of like make a dream come true for one Liverpool fan kind of a deal. But like I say, I don't want to say too much because I'll have more details and I'll introduce it properly over here on air and obviously in the socials and stuff too. So, uh, running the channel for many years to come. If Bob doesn't kill me, yes. It's getting pretty close these mornings. But no, all joking aside, yeah, as long as I'm alive, God knows how many years that will be. But yeah, I mean that's the plan. Unless they boot me out of here, which they might. After slot out, it might be Tim out. You never freaking know. Yeah, you can donate them, I guess. we can use them to clean the tables and stuff during the fundraiser. But no, actually, like that one item sold. That item sold that had his signature, but to be fair, it also had Milner and Divak's signature too. It went for like pretty good. When I saw it, I was like, ugh, I don't know, because when we knew some of the items we were getting, they looked good. But then I was like, ugh, I don't know how this looks like. Like a Diaz jersey and stuff. I'm like, what that when the that comes and stuff. Red Rebellion says 84 is my first sighting of Liverpool as a kid. And yes, I'm not freaking old. The spaghetti legs. Actually, like I think this is on the site as well. If you go to American Scouser and the About Us, like my mini short story background is in there. But it's like, yeah, 84 is kind of like my first sighting. But then like like being in Turkey is like, a bit harder to follow and stuff. You only follow like the bigger games. But then, I went to college in London for the first 2 years. My best buddy was from Liverpool, so really got into it then. And then obviously, like found out a lot more about the club and the city and stuff. I would say I think a lot of people don't know that. They might be start rooting for the club, but they don't understand like behind the scenes stuff, if you will, or what it means politically and stuff. Especially over here in the U.S., people don't associate teams with political stances and stuff as much, so it's kind of like a harder thing for people to comprehend. But so I learned a lot more then. And then like I say, it's been a passion. So, and I kind honestly started, I think somebody was asking earlier in the chats. Oh yeah, Mikhail was asking. Honestly, I started because I was like, there has to be other people like me who's watching this team. I mean, the beauty of it was, especially back then, you could just record stuff and watch afterwards. I do the same thing with Fenerbahce because nobody follows. There was like a Polish gentleman at the store I worked in Iran, and I was like, hey, dude, don't tell me the score because I'm freaking like I'm gonna watch it when I go home, kind of thing. Apart from that, nobody was going to tell me. I mean, you guys know, like if you're in Europe, if you're in England, I mean, if you're in Turkey, you are going to watch like you're not going to be able to go through your entire day not knowing the score. It's just literally impossible. It was possible here in the US, but I was like, hey, there's some other people over here I can connect to. And I didn't realize there was that many. And then I was like, yeah, let's start something so people can come together. And then it kind of like grew its own legs from there. I did fight this YouTube thing for the longest time. Maybe we should have started earlier, but I don't want to expose people to this too soon before we had some enough numbers to get going. Would you rather have Arsenal win the title? We win the FA Cup. Oh, dude, that's good. Holy shit. And honestly, this is not about how much I hate Arsenal. This is how much I hate Arteta. Oh, that's good, man. I guess I'll take the FA Cup because I want us to win something. So I'll take the FA Cup and Arsenal if that is not an option. I mean, can I? How about City wins the title and we win the Champions League or something? But yeah, I mean, I guess if it means I'm always gonna take us winning a trophy. Bob is only okay if we're winning the Champions League. You won't take an FA Cup? Bob says he's keeping me alive. Favorite LFC channel because I have yes, you do. Yes, you do. Last time I watched, I was about to attend a Leeds game. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I thought about that after as I was watching the game. I was like, who was it that was gonna be there? And I'm like, because I might see them like jump down from the stands any second. Yeah, that was a painful one. That was painful. Yes, number 7 host has to be Graham Souness. Yes, I'm not a big Souness fan because he went to go outside afterwards to Boots and did the whole fucking stupid flag thing and stuff. So yeah, not a big fan of his personally. But okay, well, I mean, before we know it, it's an hour. I was thinking of doing short. It's the anniversary with the wifey this year. I mean, today, I should say, not this year. So We're actually heading to Chicago and stuff. I was talking with the boys yesterday, so I'm almost like tempted. Maybe I'll miss the game tomorrow on purpose, kind of a deal. But hopefully it'll be a good game tomorrow, and we will be pleasantly surprised. Because honestly, surprise, I think there is the key word that we would have to be if it is a good outlet. See, Bob says Rogers 13-14 was entertaining. Would you rather be entertained and not win anything, or be bored to death and win a trophy? Let's do a final poll on that because we talked mostly about that. In good ways, you guys distracted me from the transfer stuff because I was going to really deep dive into the Messi transfer. So that really helped. So I appreciate that. But changing the topic a lot. But no, it's not a birthday, man. It's an anniversary. I'll take that in February. That's coming up in a month over here. But trophies, says Ryan. Yeah. Would you rather be bored to death and, like slow pace, this tiki taka sideways? It's not even tiki taka. It's like just side. It's just tiki. Sideways passing, slow pace, and a trophy, or have 13-14 entertaining as all over the place. Never know what's going to happen, but not win anything. Which one do you guys prefer? We have 13 live viewers as we speak. So hopefully there's 13 thumbs up at least, because we've had people bouncing on and off too. It's the morning show. We are in the trophy bidding business. Come on, Bob. I know you're going to. Come on, Bob. I'm waiting for your vote to finish the show, I swear, because I want to see what Bob is going to say. Oh, here we go. Let's never win the league during Pep era. Oh, yeah. I mean, Ed was talking about that yesterday. I'm like, dude, that's never going to happen again. Or there's a reason why it happens, once every century or something like that. Even Pep can produce garbage football. I agree to this, man. I agree to this. But we are definitely in the minority over here. Bob, I will not let you get away without voting over here. Trophy, boring, or fun and exciting, but no trophy. You have to pick one. That is not an option. If I had to pick the freaking FA Cup and Arsenal title, and God knows you have to pick one as well, one way or the other over here. But score prediction for tomorrow is, because I don't want to predict a loss, it will go against. I haven't done it, so I'm not going to start doing it. I'm going with a 2-2 draw tomorrow, is my prediction. Bob is so silent. Bob is holding the show hostage because I'm going to end it, but I don't want to end it before getting his answer over here. So it's the other way around. He's holding the show hostage more than anything else, I think. That he's not going to give a vote, waiting for Bob's vote, but Bob is not giving a vote. Bob is typing like a paragraph answer because he doesn't want to give a yes or no, like A or B answer over here. That's why it's taking so long. Oh, Bob, you're depressing the hell out of me this morning. I'm gonna have to drink extra tonight or something, and I don't even drink. Well, I drink, but not much. Konate own goal is a nice touch to add over there. Yeah, I'm hoping that. Chris is on board. Trophy is first. I always want to be entertained. Somebody take Bob to a strip club or something. No, we're gonna need trophies, man. I'm shocked. You're just now. I know why you love this channel. You just like disagreeing. But yeah, trophies anytime over. I don't care. Bore me to death. Just as long as I can watch the trophy celebration at the end, because that will be entertaining, as Bob wants it. But hey, thanks a lot for hopping on with me this morning, especially on a solo morning. I really do appreciate the chats tenfold. Not that I appreciate it normally, but have a great day, everybody. Hopefully, we'll have a good game tomorrow, because the Bolt Crew is on tomorrow night. God knows how brutal that will be if the result of the performance is not good. But do tune in for that, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. And then obviously Friday morning, it should be Gally and Kazi joining you guys. But have a great week. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.